You know what? Maybe they're trying. I know what they're doing. They're trying out a new slogan. Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. It's pretty good, right? Now, I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me. It looked to me like a woman got scared and tried to drive away, and they shot her. That'll be for the court to decide.
There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the f*** out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
I want to see. To ICE, get the f*** out of Minneapolis. Get the f*** out of all of these cities.
Since Governor Walz has been in charge of Minnesota, we have seen homicides go up by over 50%. That's also during Mayor Frey's tenure as well. Since President Trump took office, Governor Walz has released over 470 violent criminals back onto the streets here in Minneapolis. He has another 680 of them still within his jurisdiction that he could give to us today to face the consequences for their crimes. Because Governor Walz and Mayor Frey refuse to protect Minnesotans, and instead they protect these criminals, that's why we are here. And we didn't just show up yesterday, we've always been here. But we're surging operations because of the dangerous situation we see in this country, and because we're no longer going to allow illegal criminals to damage and harm, to kill, to sexually abuse, to proliferate drugs, and to steal American taxpayers' dollars. This state has faced unprecedented immigration fraud. It's seen unprecedented benefit fraud. Individuals were allowed to come into this country and set up fake companies and fake nonprofits and divert billions of dollars away from American citizens and those vulnerable citizens who truly needed the services from those programs. This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen. President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety and to ensure that criminal activity is stopped and that people who perpetuate it will face consequences. Since we have been here in recent weeks, we have arrested over 1,500 criminals off of the streets. Our law enforcement has arrested murderers, known and suspected terrorists, child pedophiles, and other brutal criminals that were protected here in this city. We should all work together to protect our citizens. We should all protect the men and the women and the families who live here in Minneapolis, who live in Minnesota, and live throughout this entire country. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for focusing on the important work that our federal officers do and make sure that we're focused on the priorities of this country, and that's making sure that we're keeping people safe.
I want to shift our attention to these pictures coming out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, though. This is one day on now from the shooting that we saw took place there, where a 37-year-old woman was fatally killed by an ICE agent. Her name was Renee Good. This has caused significant tensions on the streets of Minnesota. The White House, by contrast, defending the actions of the ICE agent. We heard from the Vice President, J.D. Vance, earlier in the day speaking at the White House. He is calling it an act of self-defence on behalf of the officer here, pointing to the actions of the driver. It's disputed, to say the very least. There are very strong opinions on both sides of this. It will be an FBI investigation into the officer's actions now. But as you can see on the streets of Minneapolis, protesters wanting to make their views heard about what we have seen in terms of ICE agents. I want to show you the comments earlier from the Vice President.
Heart or in a person's head, and obviously we're not going to get the chance to ask this woman what was going on. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I am certain of is that that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat for injury or in fact, his life. What I'm certain of is that she accelerated in a way where she ran into the guy. I don't know what was in her heart and what was in her head, but I know that she violated the law, and I know that officer was acting in self-defense.
So a sense of certainty coming from the White House. It's disputed by local authorities. The local mayor yesterday, you would have seen his comments, insistent that that is not the right version of events. We have seen these scenes on the streets in Minneapolis. The governor there, Tim Walz, calling for calm. The National Guard in that state has been authorised to help support local law enforcement if that is what is needed here. Some of the signs, you can see the back of them, but reporting from the ground saying some of the signs say abolish ICE and ICE kills. So this is a tense situation at the moment on streets across the United States. It's not just in Minneapolis. I point out that this is in other cities as well. We've seen protests in Philadelphia, in New York, similar scenes to what we're seeing here, right basically on the scene of where this shooting took place. I want to set the context now and a warning to our viewers. Next story contains images some will find distressing.
Your soul needs to grapple with the fact that you murdered a mother yesterday. Her son is 6 years old. His name is Emerson. Her name was Renee.
The name of Renee Nicole Good, shot dead by an ICE immigration agent, is echoing across Minneapolis. Reflection and resistance. A focus for the fury at Donald Trump's wider migrant crackdown. Anthony watched the horror unfold from his balcony.
It's so close where the car eventually ended up crashing.
Yeah.
He wants to remain anonymous because he has a government job, but shows me video he filmed of the moment it happened.
Right there.
So this is her car?
Yeah. So that's when she kind of tries to get out the way, and then she crashes.
You knew that she'd been shot at this point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can hear in your video someone shouting she's been shot in the face?
Exactly, yeah, that's what I heard too.
The timestamp on this video shows it's 9 minutes before first responders remove her from the car. They attempt resuscitation on the roadside. It's another 10 minutes before an ambulance arrives. A few doors away, Aidan was also watching.
You've got a very clear view of this.
Yeah, I've got I was right in front.
You're pretty convinced that she was trying to drive away from the police officers?
She turned away from them. She was trying to flee, no doubt in my mind. It is more okay for a civilian to panic and try to escape than it is for a law enforcement agent to panic and kill someone.
Yeah.
But that's not the viewpoint in Washington. Qualified empathy from the Vice President.
What you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy, while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making.
At the start of the week, the Trump administration had launched a massive immigration operation in Minnesota, sending 2,000 officers onto the streets here against the wishes of the majority. It was already an atmosphere ripe for confrontation. People are being urged to protest peacefully. But peace here feels precarious. Martha Kellner, Sky News, Minneapolis.
want to make just one final observation here. When I was actually walking out here, somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The President stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.